The sun had barely risen over the horizon when Alan found himself on the brink of a breakdown. He stood at the window of his high-rise office, looking down at the bustling city below. A cacophony of honking cars, hurried footsteps, and the constant hum of urban life filled his ears. It was a typical Monday morning, but for Alan, it was anything but ordinary. Just a few years ago, Alan had been at the pinnacle of his career. As the CEO of a rapidly growing tech company, he was the poster child of success. His face graced the covers of business magazines, and his name was synonymous with innovation. But behind the polished facade, Alan was crumbling. The pressure of maintaining his company's success, the relentless demands of investors, and the unending race to stay ahead of competitors had taken a toll on him. One evening, after another grueling day at work, Alan's wife had found him sitting in the dark, tears streaming down his face. "I can't do this anymore," he had confessed, his voice barely a whisper. It was then that she had suggested something radical. "You need to find peace, Alan. Maybe you should visit the monastery in the mountains. I've heard the monk there is wise beyond his years." A week later, Alan found himself standing at the gates of the Tranquil monastery, nestled high in the mountains. The air was crisp and clean, a stark contrast to the polluted city he had left behind. The silence was almost deafening, broken only by the occasional chirping of birds and the rustling of leaves. He was greeted by a young monk who led him to the main hall, where the head monk, Master Li, awaited him. Master Li was a man of serene presence, his eyes reflecting a deep well of wisdom and compassion. Alan felt a strange sense of calm wash over him as he bowed respectfully. "Welcome, Alan," Master Li said in a gentle voice. "What brings you to our humble monastery?" Alan took a deep breath, struggling to find the right words. I'm lost," he admitted. "The pressures of my job, the stress of running a business, it's all become too much. I feel like I'm drowning." Master Li nodded, his expression thoughtful. "Stress and depression are heavy burdens, but they are not insurmountable. You seek peace, but peace is not found in the absence of chaos. It is found within, amidst the chaos." The next morning, Master Li took Alan to a serene river that flowed near the monastery. The water was clear and calm, reflecting the azure sky above. Master Li sat down on a large rock by the riverbank and motioned for Alan to join him. "Look at the river," Master Li began. "Notice how it flows effortlessly, even when it encounters obstacles. It doesn't resist the rocks in its path. Instead, it moves around them, embracing their presence." Alan watched the river, its gentle flow almost hypnotic. "But I'm not like the river," he said after a while. "I can't just go around my problems. They're always there, weighing me down." Master Li smiled. "The river doesn't avoid its obstacles, Alan. It acknowledges them and continues to flow. In life, we too must acknowledge our challenges and continue our journey. Resistance only creates more tension. Acceptance and adaptability are the keys to overcoming stress." For the next few days, Alan immersed himself in the routines of the monastery. He meditated, participated in daily chores, and spent long hours in contemplation. The simplicity of monastic life was a stark contrast to his hectic existence, and he found himself gradually unwinding. One evening, as they watched the sunset from a hilltop, Alan confided in Master Li. "I feel like I've been carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders," he admitted. "The expectations of my family, my employees, my investors, it's all too much." Master Li placed a reassuring hand on Alan's shoulder. "Expectations can be a heavy burden, especially when they come from others. But often, the most debilitating expectations are the ones we place on ourselves. We strive for perfection, fearing failure, and in doing so, we forget to be kind to ourselves." Alan nodded, tears welling up in his eyes. "I don't know how to let go of these expectations." "You don't have to let go," Master Li said softly. "You need to transform them. Instead of striving for perfection, strive for progress. Instead of fearing failure, embrace it as a stepping stone to growth. And most importantly, practice self-compassion. You are doing the best you can, and that is enough." One morning, Master Li took Alan to a quiet meditation hall. In the center of the room was a large, ornate mirror. Master Li instructed Alan to sit in front of the mirror and observe his reflection. Your mind is like this mirror, Master Li explained. It reflects everything you experience, both good and bad. When the mind is calm, it reflects clarity. When it is disturbed, it reflects chaos. To overcome depression and stress, you must learn to calm your mind and clear the reflections. Alan stared at his reflection, his mind racing with thoughts. But how do I calm my mind? It's always so noisy. Through mindfulness and meditation, Master Li replied. When you meditate, you train your mind to focus on the present moment, letting go of past regrets and future anxieties. It's like cleaning the mirror, removing the smudges that obscure your clarity. As the days turned into weeks, Alan continued to learn from Master Li. One day, they visited the monastery's garden, a place of vibrant colors and fragrant blooms. Master Li handed Alan a small seedling and a spade. Plant this seedling and nurture it, he instructed. A garden requires patience, care, and attention, so does your soul. Just as a garden grows when tended to, your inner peace grows when you take care of yourself. Alan planted the seedling, feeling the soil between his fingers. It was a simple act, but it felt profoundly therapeutic. As he worked, Master Li spoke. Life is a series of seasons, each with its own challenges and rewards. There will be times of growth and times of dormancy. Embrace each season and understand that even in the darkest times, the potential for new growth exists. One of the most transformative lessons Alan learned was the art of letting go. Master Li took him to a cliff overlooking a vast valley. The wind was strong, and Alan could see eagles soaring in the distance. Imagine holding a heavy stone, Master Li said, picking up a rock from the ground. This stone represents your worries, your fears, and your stresses. Holding onto it only weighs you down. Now let it go. Alan hesitated, then threw the rock over the cliff, watching it disappear into the abyss. He felt a strange sense of liberation. Letting go is not about giving up, Master Li explained. It's about releasing the hold that negative thoughts and emotions have on you. When you let go, you make space for new possibilities and experiences. In his final days at the monastery, Alan realized the importance of community and support. The monks lived in harmony, supporting each other in their spiritual journeys. Alan had always tried to handle everything on his own, believing that asking for help was a sign of weakness. One evening, Master Li invited Alan to join the monks in a communal prayer. As they chanted together, Alan felt a deep sense of connection and belonging. He understood that he didn't have to face his struggles alone. There was strength in seeking support and sharing his burdens with others. When the time came for Alan to return to the city, he felt a profound sense of peace and clarity. Master Li walked him to the gates of the monastery, offering a final piece of advice. Remember, Alan, the lessons you have learned here are not just for the monastery. They are for your life. Practice mindfulness, embrace self-compassion, and nurture your inner garden. Let go of what weighs you down and seek support when you need it. The path to inner peace is a continuous journey, not a destination. Alan bowed deeply, gratitude shining in his eyes. Thank you, Master Li. You've given me the tools to face my challenges and find happiness. As Alan made his way down the mountain, he felt lighter than he had in years. The city awaited him with all its chaos and demands, but he was no longer the same person who had arrived at the monastery. He was equipped with wisdom, resilience, and a renewed sense of purpose. He knew that the journey ahead would not be easy, but he was ready to face it with a calm mind and an open heart. Months later, Alan's life had transformed in ways he had never imagined. He had introduced mindfulness practices into his company, creating a more supportive and balanced work environment. He spent more time with his family, prioritizing his well-being over relentless ambition. The lessons he had learned from Master Li had not only helped him overcome his own struggles, but had also created a ripple effect, bringing peace and happiness to those around him. Alan often thought of the monastery and Master Li's wise words. He knew that life would always have its challenges, but he now had the inner strength to navigate them. And in moments of stress or doubt, he would close his eyes, take a deep breath, and remember the tranquil river, the nurturing garden, and the liberating act of letting go. In the end, Alan had found not just success, but true fulfillment. He had discovered that the greatest journey was not in conquering the world, but in finding peace within himself. And with that peace came a happiness that no external achievement could ever match.